everybody. Welcome to the 5,430th meeting of the greatest Rotary Club on earth. So glad to see you guys today. And how about that gala on Saturday night? Woo! That was so fun, and I appreciate you all so warmly welcoming my dad. As you know, he's my favorite human, and he loved meeting all of you, and he loved just the creativity and the support and the generosity of all of you. Could not have been a better night. I want to thank Heather Lerner, our president-elect and chair of the Gala Committee, one more time. And of course, success is predicated on a team effort. So to the committee members as well, thank you so much. It could not have been better. In a few weeks, we'll have a brief presentation to highlight how much we earned for our community grants and other support. So that'll be great. Thank you to the Culinary and Hospitality Committee for being in the greeting line today, and for Cindy Faulkner for being the chair of that committee. Now, yes, we love applause. And there are some lobby tables you'll want to stop by on your way out today. You can sign up for Fish Day, and that is chaired by Todd Treckle. And we also have other fun tables talking about what's happening. Now it's time to sing. Come on, Sarah.
Come on, everybody, join me. Stand on up. See if I can pick a key today that works for most of you. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, we have 2 birthdays on this very day. Let's see. The meeting has begun. I know we enjoy visiting with each other, but that's why we want you to arrive early or stay a few minutes after, so you don't impinge upon that social time. But it is time for the meeting, so I appreciate everybody's attention, and I'll call people out by name if I continue to hear their voice. Okay. Now, today we have 2 birthdays we're celebrating, so if you see our friends, help celebrate their magic. It's Alan Williams and Richard Aljuni. I tried. I'm not sure I got that quite right, but I worked very hard to try. And now we have our traveling mics. Today we will have Mark Silver, who will be getting his blue badge in just a bit, and Johnny Camus. If you could briefly introduce yourself, I'd appreciate it. And for our visitors and our visiting Rotarians, please stand to be recognized. You're not on yet.
Go ahead, Johnny. Oh, there it goes. All right. So hi, Mark Silver. I'm the head of a JK-12 school, Hillbrook School, which has a campus in Los Gatos and a new campus in downtown San Jose. And as you said, I'm excited to become a Blue Badger today. So this is my last day on the traveling mics.
All right. Where's Johnny?
Johnny's not here.
Oh.
This is Kirk Wallakevich.
Oh,
I'm
Kirk.
filling in, and I'm a CPA, and I can't believe I'm here, but I am, and glad to be.
Well, you need a little break from the stress and to feel rejuvenated and amplified by your friends. So we're glad you're here.
Yeah, it's my sanity break. It's my
The sanity break. Okay, great. President-elect Heather.
Hi, President Garrett. My guest today is Allison McCougan. She's got a great career in marketing, but I love that she is the founding member of Parents Helping Parents Community Support Council. Please welcome Allison.
Welcome, Allison.
Hi,
Deanna.
Hi, President Karen. Deanna Persai, College of Adaptive Arts. My guest today is John Silva, and he is with J. Silva Workforce Consulting Firm and an amazing community leader.
Excellent. Norm.
Hi, President Karen. Norman Klein, Information Technology. I'm here to introduce my son, Will Klein,
Yay.
and he is taking over my company in a few years, if not sooner.
Mentorship at its finest. Okay.
Is this me? It's me.
Oh, Sarju.
Hey, President Karen, Sarju Naran with Hoke Fenton, and my guest today is Alex Statinsky, the CEO of the San Jose Downtown Association. Been sitting in the seat for about a year and a half now. Looking to welcome him to the club.
So, Alex, you need to be thinking about why you're not in Rotary, because it's a phenomenal organization that's right here in downtown. I'm just saying, think about it. Yes, sir.
Hello, President Karen. My guest today is Miss Anna Wengren. She's a startup entrepreneur par excellence, and also she's a winner of the Lee Weimer's Emerging Arts Award from Rotary.
Wow, that's incredible. What's your art?
I play the harp and I sing.
She plays the harp and she sings. Beautiful. That's always an inspiring program, and it happens in October for our Red Badgers and those considering joining us. It's a beautiful event. Okay, that's it. So now it's time for your blue badge, Mark. Want to come on up and join me? All right. This is a very formal process. All right, here you go.
Do I give you the old one?
Yes. What's been, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Nice
I
to have
appreciate it.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, we got to get a real quick picture of it. Before you go, since we only have one today, I want to take the liberty of asking you, in your first year, what have you found most inspiring and engaging?
Well, this has been such a great opportunity. I haven't spent a lot of time in downtown San Jose before the last couple of years, and so with the combination of having our high school start down here, but also being part of this group, it's just been amazing to meet people and get to know people, and this is such a warm and welcoming community, so I'm really grateful to be part of it.
Well, welcome, friend. Thanks. All right. And now we have two special guests, and that's Thea Selby and Eve Fisher, and they're going to be talking transportation for a moment. Now, this falls squarely within my presidential theme of We Are Family, because, of course, transportation is all about connectivity, connecting people to the places they want to be, they need to be, and to the social support that's so vital to overall health and well-being. In fact, statistics I've previously shared, but I'm going to share it again in case you don't remember, according to the latest scientific evidence, when people lack social engagement, their physical health can be equivalent to those who smoke up to 15 cigarettes a day. That's how important it is to be surrounded by others. So let's hear how our transportation system can link us together.
Thank you so much, President and Dr. Philbrick. We're really honored to be here. My name is Thea Selby, and I am the principal and co-founder of Next Steps Marketing, which is a Bay Area marketing communications and outreach firm. And I'm here representing Amtrak San Joaquin's, which we do have a slide that will show you a little bit of the map of it. We are primarily a leisure train that connects, speaking of connecting, over 100 destinations as high up as Reading with our thruway buses, as far down through the portal at Bakersfield as San Diego, and as far east as Las Vegas. And as this is the ACE map. There should be also an Amtrak San Joaquin's map, and when you see that map, what you'll see is we go down the backbone of California. There you go, the backbone of California, the Central Valley. And so when you travel with Amtrak, you get the added bonus of seeing high-speed rail being built. I am here today, though, to talk, to make sure that you guys know about Route 6, which goes through San Jose. It's a throughway bus that takes you conveniently and affordably and comfortably to Stockton. And you have 2 buses that go every day of the week. Saturday and Sunday, you have a 1225 that will get you there. And then from Stockton, again, 100 destinations throughout California. It is a great way to go to other Rotary clubs, among other things, or to take a trip to the fruit and vegetable capital of the nation, and a great way to travel, again, conveniently, safely, and affordably. So check out Route 6. And now I want to introduce my colleague, Eve.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Eve Fisher, and I'm with Winter Consulting, which is also an engagement marketing firm in the Bay Area. And I'm here on behalf of ACE today, also known as Ultimate Corridor Express. And I wanted to get you guys to know the service a little bit better, as ACE has historically been a commuter train, which has taken people who typically live in Stockton, Tracy, or the Tri-Valley down to San Jose to work. And right now, the trains run throughout the weekdays, with 4 trains in the morning going from Stockton to San Jose, and 4 trains going back to Stockton from San Jose in the evening. And as we have typically kind of established ourselves as a commuter train, we are starting to tip our toes into more of leisure travel. And with that, we're doing special trains and stuff like that for events, trying to get more people on the train, because we want people to really realize how sustainable and affordable the train is, not only for traffic and congested areas, but also for air pollution. And it kind of ropes into communicating with more people. You have to run into people when you're on the train, not necessarily when you're driving in the car by yourself. But a few of the future things that we're working on that I wanted to share with you guys is our 5 to 10 year projects. And one being that we plan on expanding our rail to Sacramento and Chico. And we're also planning on expanding from Lathrop to Merced. And lastly, I wanted to share that we are also expanding to integrate with Union City BART Station, which will help unify the transportation in San Jose and make it a more cohesive thing for people to ride. And lastly, I just wanted to encourage that if you have members that work at the place that you are working at, or if you have employees that you would like to give commuter benefits to, I'd like to encourage you to consider ACE as an option. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. So of course I can't help myself. That made me think of 4 critical points related to transportation. First of all, let's talk safety. In 2023, approximately 43,000 people were killed in automobile crashes, and millions more injured on our roads, streets, and highways. That figure, when you're talking about commuter rail, also known as passenger rail, or even light rail, is 168 deaths. Any death is a tragedy, but 168 compared to 43,000? I think we can agree that public transportation is a safer form of mobility. Secondly, she mentioned seeing the construction of high-speed rail. Many people used to think that project was dead, which is preposterous. In fact, they've just put over 13,000 people to work. When I started my year, it was 10,000. Now it's 13,000. For context, when that system is fully built out, the time it takes to go from San Francisco to Los Angeles and the amount of people it would move, if we were going to do it by plane, would take an additional 2 runways, 100 airport gates, and if we were going to do it by surface transportation, it would be 4,300 lane miles. Clearly, we don't have the opportunity to grow out, so we need to be smarter. And about that high-speed rail, for those of you who were not here last week, Be sure to take a look at this month's Rotarian magazine, which features an article by our own Rod Diridon called All Aboard, and it's talking about the benefits of high-speed rail. You won't want to miss it. And my fourth and final point, and that is when you have transit in close proximity to where you live, your property values increase. We saw this most specifically with the advent of the BART Warm Spring Station, which increased real estate values by 11%, Larry Stone. Thought you'd like that. Woohoo! Let's hear it for transportation. All right, Sandra's going to talk to us about blind wine taste testing. Right here. You use this.
Okay, so I'm back again. God, I'm shorter than you, Karen. Wine blind tasting, Tuesday, April 30th, 5 to 7. As I mentioned last time, be there or be square. Fernando, you heard that? I heard it. Okay. $60 per person. It's an amazing event. And we have a setup where we team you up in a table of 4. And yes, you can choose your own teammates, or we can pick. It's up to you. And tickets are online. And as you can see, here are some pictures from previous years. It's a lot of fun. It's not because we're all, overly vinoed, but because we are really excited to be with friends. It truly is an exciting time. Once we do a little bit of drinking, we start thinking, wow, how does this sound for poetry? Okay, so we create this poetry type of competition where we share with each other. This is as smooth as the skin of, that kind of thing. Use your imagination.
Where was that going?
Use your imagination. Anyway, good wines. Joseph George Weiner, obviously he offers great wines. Culinary Hospitality Committee, which we hosted today's lineup, right? Thank you. Greeting line is going to be providing some yummy tastes and yummy bites, and those are going to be amazing. And as you can see here, literally blind wine tasting. And I don't know if Jay is here. I know Carl participated. Oh, there you are, Carl, a couple of years ago. It truly is a lot of fun. So I hope that you will be there Tuesday, April 30th from 5 to 7. Great bites, great wine, great friends. So thank you all.
Fun. That sounds great. Thank you. Well, that was kind of provocative, wasn't it? I have a dirty mind, if you don't know that, so I went a lot of places with that, and it was kind of fun, a little respite. Come on up, Sal. Let's talk about what's going on around town.
We'll give you a chance to cool off there, Karen. All right. Welcome to spring. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Welcome to spring. A lot of stuff happening in April. I'm only going to be able to touch on a few things. Of course, first off, last weekend was, in addition to our gala, you may have noticed Lisa Millette was not there. That's because it was opening night for City Lights' new play, King Liz. As you may have read in the newspaper someplace, they did have a break-in a few weeks ago, so one of the best ways we can support City Lights and any of our theater companies is to buy tickets to shows and go see them and make sure that people are around. In addition to City Lights, of course, San Jose Stage is also opening a new show. It's Hangman by Martin McDonough. You may remember he was the writer-director of Banshees of Inisherin, the movie from 2 years ago that was in the Oscars race. That opens on April 3rd, and it's got a great cast. They're working on it now. I'm looking forward to that one. Another, of course, performing arts venue we have in downtown San Jose, we're going to be hearing a little bit more about in a minute, is the Hammer Theater Center. And it's really a gem. If you have not been there, they just wrapped up having CineQuest there for a couple of weeks. And I heard from filmmakers and audiences, they love that theater. I mean, the California theater is amazing, but filmmakers who were showing at the Hammer are like, that is such a cool theater because the audience is so close and you can see them and they're right there. And it is a cool theater, and they've got some great stuff coming up. We're going to hear a bit about the Kite Runner in a while, so I'm not going to touch on that other than to say it does open April 3rd to 7th, and everyone should go see it and not miss this opportunity. But they've got some other great stuff coming up, including their Black Cab Jazz series finishes up. This is not in the main auditorium. This is in a really cool, intimate space called Hammer 4. And the April 17th show is Donnie McCaslin. He's a Santa Clara native. He's a saxophonist. Great music. You might want to look into that one. The very next day, San Jose State Go Spartans, Center for Literary Arts, is going to be presenting Layla Motley. She's a young poet and writer. Her book, Night Crawling, won the Booker Prize and was also an Oprah Book Club pick. I don't know which one means more to you, but that's on April 18th, and she's from Oakland, so it's great to hear young, new voices. And then, of course, I'm giving you a little advance notice on this. We've got, starting in May, the block parties that the Urban Vibrancy Institute did are coming back. They've added a couple. They've added one at City Hall because I think Matt Mahan said, hey, I don't want to have to walk so far. And they added one at Paseo de San Antonio. It starts out May 16th at which one's the first one? Historic District around the Bank of Italy building. The best way to remember this is from May to October. It's the third Thursday of every month. So third Thursday, you come out around 5 o'clock, and I'll be reminding you of these as we go out throughout the summer. Speaking of getting out, Viva Calle is coming back. The first one of 3 this spring and summer is April 21st. That's going to go from the Sofa District here in downtown San Jose all the way down along Monterey Highway to Marshall Cottle Park in South San Jose. So you can get out, get on your bike, get on your scooter, your stroller, you can walk, you can run. I've even seen somebody with a horse. So if you want to go horseback down to Marshall Cottle Park, that's up to you. And that's what's going on in downtown this month. See you guys in April.
All right, thank you. Everybody's speaking to my heart today. Did you notice he ended on transportation? That's just another form of mobility, and it's called an active form of transportation. That's when you walk, bike, roll, or stroll. And in fact, everybody uses transportation. Even if somebody is wheelchair bound, they're still using a mobility device. So thanks for that plug. Once again, Heather Lerner is going to talk to us about the Sister Cities trip she went on to Japan. Take it away.
Thank you, Karen. Smooth as the skin of a Shinkansen.
Ooh,
Do you like it?
yes.
I'm just trying to curry favor with Karen. You know, they even have a Shinkansen that is completely wrapped in Sanrio's Hello Kitty branding. I think that's exciting, guys. Okay, great. So if you don't know, Okayama, Japan is one of 7 sister cities that San Jose is partnered with. And we had the opportunity to celebrate their Rotary Club's 90th anniversary. We got an email several months ago saying, hey, San Jose Rotary, you're our sister city. Will you come help celebrate our 90th anniversary? And we didn't really answer, and I didn't think they were really talking to me. And then it was like, they were persistent and so kind, and finally, if you went to Bob Gurr last week, I said yes. I mean, I waffled a lot, and I waited 3 months to say yes, but I did say yes. So we took a great trip to Okayama to celebrate their Rotary anniversary. I've got 3 main takeaways for you and a Japan travel tip. So one of the first things they took us to, they took such great care of us.
Asked me to go to the Japan
We had
sister
paparazzi
city.
following us everywhere. Not sure if that was warranted, but we enjoyed it.
I gotta get
They took us to the Korakuen Garden. This is one of the top 3 top 3 gardens in Japan. If this isn't on your radar, it's our sister garden to our Japanese Friendship Garden. So a lot of inspiration was taken there, and we have, I would say, not a replica. Theirs is much larger, but a lot of tribute in our garden that mirrors the Korakuen Garden. This was us. They took us to so many things. This is me and Jay being goofy at a morning newscast thing. It wasn't actually taped, but looks like it was. That thing about karaoke and business in Japan, I always thought that was just kind of like a trope, but that is real. Oh my gosh, that is real. And here we are at the celebration. This is the last time we were there. This is the Rotary flag from, oh my gosh, Leslie, what was that, like the 80s? It's been a while. It's been a while. So we're building those bridges back up again. And there's a whole bunch of pictures of me being giddily excited. That was Jason Stein laughing out loud, not sure why. This was an incredible moment. I was the only American there, and there was a very touching moment where they played the Japanese national anthem, and everybody stood up and sang. We had a great contingent from Taiwan. They were so much fun. We'll bring them over here. And they played their national anthem. They stood up and sang, and then they played our national anthem, and it was just me. It was beautiful, and I didn't have a fork to stab in my palm, but I just kept telling yourself, Heather, you're on the podium and you just won the Olympics, and they're just playing for you. You've just nailed your triple axel.
That's why there's Olympics. You pull one out.
And here we are exchanging flags, and so I have our flag here from them. It's a gorgeous flag, isn't that? So I'll hand that to you, Karen.
Beautiful.
Thank you. So we'll just kind of speed through. We got some press while we were there. We're big in Japan. And this is just me enjoying the sights and sounds. They have lantern tours of some of the gardens, so I think that'd be a beautiful thing to do at our Japanese Friendship Garden. Don't you agree? Excellent. Love it, love it. And then, so my top 3 takeaways is their Chamber of Commerce wants to know our Chamber of Commerce in a much deeper way. I've already talked to Leah Tennisketter about that. They set up a whole press conference for me and 3 people to cement our bonds between our cities and our business leaders. That was a wonderful thing. They want to increase our student exchange. They'd like to bring student exchange back. I'm talking to Carl Salas about having our sister exchange be with Okayama, Japan. I think it's been a while since we've had a Japanese student.
Like your mask.
And then, then the other thing too is our Japanese Friendship Garden got hit pretty hard 7 years ago with that massive flood. I need funders to the tune of $3.5 million, and don't laugh at that number. That's a really simple number to get that park fixed up. Please help me in securing a funder to get that park fixed up again, because our 70th anniversary is in 2 years, and we want to roll out the hospitality to them that they did for us. Hot tip, check out Naoshima Island if you go to Japan. Look it up, don't miss it. Thanks for the mic time.
Okay, because I can't help myself, I've got to follow up on 2 things that she said. You notice the self-talk she used? You're getting a medal. They're singing for you. Remember what I said? Your brain believes what you tell it.
They're out of
Feed it hope, feed it the truth, and feed it love. And remember that anxiety as well as excitement utilize the same neural pathways in your brain. So make sure you attach the proper narrative to what you're feeling, because it will change your performance. And of course, my last thing, she mentioned the Shinkansen. Fun fact, that was the first truly high-speed rail system to be built. That was done in 1964. In fact, in 2011, when Japan had the trifecta of disasters, which included the nuclear meltdown, the tsunami, and the earthquake, the P-wave sensors on the high-speed rail train caused it to slow, and a well-trained staff successfully evacuated every single rider with 0 loss of life and 0 injuries. Fun fact, yay! All right. So a couple president's announcement, a request, an update, and an opportunity like usual. I just want to reiterate a request that I made about 5 weeks ago, and that is, please don't hit reply all and include Leslie. She is overwhelmed. Teresa is beginning her exit strategy, unfortunately. So they're trying to train up Lisa while our Marie still is on disability leave. So please, we all know that you got the message. We appreciate your thank you, but let's help her manage her inbox. That's 1. 2, now I'll announce this again next week, but our very own Brenda Sweeney, who's joining us hopefully by Zoom, has been named the Sid Mitchell Rotarian of the Year for our district. Now, with over 60 clubs, that's a pretty phenomenal win for her, and it's based on her building bridges between our club and the district, taking on the position of being the treasurer for the district conference, being a co-leader of the ambassadors program, and much, much, much more. So make sure you congratulate that lady in purple when she's back. We also have, she will be celebrated on April 27th at the district conference. We'd love to have a big contingency of our Rotary family there to cheer her on. So please consider it. They do have scheduling that fits everybody's needs. You can actually register for the entire weekend, 1 day, 2 days, or an à la carte portion. So please don't let your fear of time and budget interfere with being there to celebrate her. There's an option that's right for you. That weekend will be rounded out on Sunday at 8:30 a.m. with an End Polio Walk, a very easy walk designed to earn money to eradicate polio, which now only exists in 2 countries, which is obviously due to the Rotary clubs around the world having a significant impact there. So it's a minimum of $25 contribution to be in that walk. Please consider doing that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then 2 fun updates for our Military Care Committee. I want to reiterate that they are doing the book drive. Let me be super clear. They're not asking you to buy books. They're asking you to donate books for the Defenders Lodge in Palo Alto. There's a specific emphasis on Westerns, mysteries, and history, but they're willing to accept all books. They will be collecting them before and after the meeting on April 3rd and April 10th. So go through those bookcases. If you've got some books you're willing to pass on, they would be most grateful for that contribution. And they are very active this month because they're also having a Rotary Military Care Mixer in conjunction with San Jose State University and the Veterans Associations that are connected to that. It's completely free of charge. It's on April 12th at the Gordon House from 5 to 8 p.m. Strongly encourage you to RSVP to Catherine Tompkinson so we can make sure that they have planned for everybody. It's going to be a great time, and it's your opportunity to mentor our veterans, to provide leadership opportunities, and to connect them further with the community. So thank you, Catherine, for your leadership there. We really appreciate it. And then finally, let's see. If you won the City Lights certificate in the chocolate bar at the gala, please see Leslie because she's got a gift card for you too. So thank you, Leslie. And now let me introduce Chris. Come on up and introduce our speaker, please.
Will do, Madam President.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. We are really thrilled to have Matt Spangler here today with us. Matt is a professor of performance studies and chair of the departments of film, theater, and dance at San Jose State University. Go Spartans. Yeah, there you go. He's also an award-winning playwright. His plays have been produced on Broadway, London's West End, off-Broadway, the Gaiety Theatre in Dublin, Dubai Opera House, as well as many other theaters in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Ireland, France, Germany, India, Pakistan, Russia, and Tunisia. He is very well traveled, and I wish I had his frequent flyer miles. But today, Matt's going to talk to us about the journey of the Kite Runner, which opens 1 week from tonight at the Hammer Theater. It's a launch of a Broadway tour, so we are actually teching and putting it together at the Hammer as we speak. One little known fact about Matt, his PhD alma mater is at the University of North Carolina, I believe. And the Tar Heels are playing in the NCAA March Madness Sweet 16 tomorrow night. So go Tar Heels. Anyway, let's wish Matt luck and welcome him to the stage.
You notice that transportation link once again, right? Don't forget to pay your carbon offsets.
Do you know what, real quick, talking about transportation, I flew home here last night from New York. I was in New York attending rehearsals for this play, for the Kite Runner, and I flew into San Francisco at midnight, and I was on that train that takes you out to the long-term parking. You know what I'm talking about? You take the train that's above, and the train broke down. At midnight, it broke down. And so they got all of us off the train. And then there's like 100 of us standing below this overpass, and they were bringing buses, and the buses were never coming. So I walked on the edge of the freeway from San Francisco Airport to the long-term parking last night. How do you like that? The train broke. I'm not saying trains, that particular train broke down. Trains are generally very good, which is why I'm telling the story. It was a shock that it broke down. Anyway. My name's Matthew Spangler, and as you heard in the introduction there, I teach at San Jose State. I teach in the Communication Studies department there. I teach courses in how refugees and asylum seekers are represented through the arts. And then separately, I'm also a playwright, and I write plays based on books. And we'll talk a little bit about a play of mine that was recently on Broadway and is going to be in the Hammer Theater next week, and I'll say a few words about that here. But first, I want you to come back in my memory to the year 2005 when I was hired here at San Jose State. I just finished my PhD at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Yes, go Tar Heels. They're playing... who are they playing tomorrow night? Not Arizona, Alabama. They're playing Alabama tomorrow night in Los Angeles. I was hired in 2005, and Tim Hegstrom, who's sitting next to me at lunch at this table, was dean of the college that hired me. And so I interviewed with Tim and other people when I was here. And I was a new professor in 2005 teaching these courses in how immigrants are represented through the arts. And I was looking for a book to teach in my classes, something I thought my students might like, a book that might be set here in the Bay Area, because I was new to the Bay Area. I just moved here from North Carolina. And I read Khaled Hosseini's The Kite Runner. Has anybody read that book here? Yes. Oh, wow. Wow, okay, a lot of us know that book. So you know, it's a beautiful book. It's about an Afghan father and son. They come here from Kabul, Afghanistan, and try to rebuild their lives. It's other things too. It's a story about two best friends. It's a story about betrayal and regret, and something the main character does in his youth and then spends the rest of his life trying to set that thing right. It's essentially what the book is about. So I taught that book here at San Jose State, my first semester of teaching, and my students loved it. And I don't know if you've taught, but when your students love a 350-page book, like seriously, there's something special about that book, right? Like just getting students are great, but seriously, as a teacher, getting them to get to the end of a reading, right, is its own kind of thing. And when they get to the end of a 350-page book and they're answering all the questions on the quiz, even though the questions are to do with the final chapter, and I thought, oh, well, there's something special about this book. So I reached out to the author. Khaled is also from Afghanistan, and he lives here in San Jose. I say also because the characters in the book are from Afghanistan. And so I reached out to Khaled and I said, you know, I write plays based on books. I teach courses in immigration studies at San Jose State. Could I try my hand at writing a play based on Kite Runner? And we met in a Starbucks over in Evergreen, which is near where he lives, and I laid my ideas out for him. And he said, well, that sounds good to me. And so I got rights to write a play based on that book. And I wrote the play in 2006 and 2007, so it's a while ago now in my career. And I wrote the play in 2006, 2007, and the first production we did was at San Jose State in 2007 with a group of student actors. It was part of the theater season's main stage season that year. It ran for 3 weeks in the University Theater, perhaps a room some of you have been in over there. Okay, so that was the end of that, and I thought, well, what do I do now? We've had this nice, experience with the students, and I thought the play was good, and so I sent the play to the San Jose Rep, which is here in town, and they produced it in 2009, and that was the first regional production of that play. And it's a little weird to say now, 15 years later, but that play has now always been in production since 2009. You heard in the introduction some of the places it's been. It's been produced throughout the United States, the Cleveland Playhouse, Actors Theatre Louisville, throughout Canada, and then various countries also that Chris mentioned here. The most recent production was on Broadway about a year and a half ago. Kite Runner ran for 5 months on Broadway. And now that Broadway production is doing a U.S. tour, which opens a week from today. The tour opens a week from today at the Hammer Theater. Now, isn't that great? 15 years later, right? Yeah. Like, as a writer, it really is incredible on all these levels to have a play produced for this long, but then also just the way this particular one is now back in the Bay Area. It hasn't been produced in the Bay Area since 2009. So it has been 15 years since this play has been produced here. Now, it's a different production, right? Because what's going to launch from the Hammer Theater is the Broadway show. So it has a different set, a different design team, a different director, different actors than the show that was there in 2009, which the San Jose Rep produced as one of their in-house shows. But yeah, it'll launch from the Hammer Theater a week from today. It tours across the United States, and its final destination is the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. So those are the bookends of this national tour. Simultaneously, they're also doing a tour right now in the United Kingdom. The play is on a national tour in the UK. That opened about a month ago, and so the UK team is off and running with that. So wow, that is the story of this play. I was told to talk for about 15 minutes. I've probably done about 11, right? Six. The professor in me feels, well, maybe the intro counts, maybe up to 11. No, but thoughts, questions. I understand that we can also do Q&A, so whatever. Yes, happy to do it, totally.
Okay, we've got Norman Klein has a question right here. If we can get a microphone. Kirk's coming your way.
Quick question. Is it movie time yet?
Wow, okay. Is this on? How's that?
You can expand on that too.
IT is making sure it's on for you.
I could use that mic. I'm also an actor, sort of. I don't know, but mics are probably better. You want me to stand over there?
Sure. There we go.
All right, how's that?
Perfect.
Whoa, now this is on.
Perfect.
So the question was, is there a movie? That's a really good question. So there's already been a movie of Kite Runner. It was released in 2007. And I wrote the play before the movie was released, so there's no relationship between the play and the movie. And in fact, there was a gap. If you notice the timeline I just presented, the San Jose State production was in 2007. The San Jose Rep show was in 2009, so there's a gap right there because the movie people said to me, hey, we don't mind that you have a play, but don't produce your play until, they were like, you can do it at a university, but don't produce it at a professional theater until our movie goes to DVD. So the movie came out in December of 07, did its thing in the beginning of 08, and went to DVD later in 08, and then the San Jose Rep was able to step in 2009 and produce the play. Great question, but there's no relationship between the movie and the play. I've not worked with any of them, and they're totally separate.
Well, did you think the movie was good? Was it a good reflection of the book?
Well, right. How many of you all have seen the movie
I only
of
seen
Kite
the
Runner?
movie.
Okay, fewer than have read the book. All good. Well, the movie's good. The movie's very good. Yeah. I
Okay,
think
that
the
was
movie's
short and
excellent.
sweet. It was good, very good. Past President, yes, Steve Borkenhagen.
Thank you for the talk. How do the skills of adapting a novel into a play compare to just writing a play out of your own creativity?
Yeah, super good question. Adaptation is its own art form. As I said in the introduction here, all my plays are based on books or short stories. I particularly like working that way, and it is a somewhat different skill set. So just take Kite Runner, for example, yeah? It's a 350-page book. The audio book of Kite Runner, I think, is 15 hours, right? So if you listen to Khaled Hosseini read the book, it's a 15-hour thing. Okay, but the play is only 2 hours. Yeah, and this book, a lot of people have read it, and they come to the play, and they say, oh, wow, like you didn't take anything out. Yeah, but man, I took 13 out of 15 parts out, but I arranged it in a particular way. We're telling the story in a particular way so that you don't really notice what's missing, right? It's not that I'm improving on the book. That's not what a playwright is doing. You're taking the book and putting it in a different format, but at the same time, there is a trick, a kind of art in preserving what is essential about that book and translating it to another artistic format. And I quite like working that way. It's also very collaborative. I say the other thing about doing adaptation, especially if the authors are alive, you end up working closely with authors, listening carefully to them. Khaled Hosseini and I would meet when I was first writing this play in 2006, and he had a lot of thoughts on things he wanted to change if he was rewriting the book today, and could he change this and that in the play? And of course, I said, yes, totally, you can change whatever you want. But that's a collaborative way of working that maybe doesn't appeal to every writer. But writers who work in adaptation have to be very collaborative.
Thank you. We'll go to Alex next, and then we'll come back to this side of the room. Guest Alex.
First, thank you for being here. This is such an honor to see you and to hear you speak. I'm a huge fan of The Kite Runner. I'm also a huge fan of 1,000 Splendid Suns. Just amazing books. My question to you is, this is a 300-plus page book. It's super intense. And when I read the book, I remember everything was so important to build on each other. When you wrote the play, you adapted that book into a play, what was the hardest part where you were struggling with how are you going to put this into the play and don't make the play 15 hours long?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, the hardest part is, I'll be real honest with you. The hardest part when I first wrote the play, because I had it in mind for our student for the theater, to be honest with you, is that Kite Runner is a very male-heavy story. Yeah, like all the big characters are men, and then inevitably when you write an adaptation, you have to compress it a little bit. And then I found myself like taking out characters who were women, and so I was already doing a male-heavy story, and then I was reducing even more through the process of adaptation opportunities for actors in our community, you know, and most, in a school community, most of the people who want to be in theater happen to be women. And so that was really hard. Like, how do I do this? How do I find spaces? Are there characters that are men in the book that possibly could be female in the play? I started thinking that question. Are there male characters in the book who could be played by women in the play? And so that, when I was first writing the script, was probably the thing that I was most sort of struggling with. Yeah. Wow, okay. So like that, totally like the, so there is a play of 1,000 Splendid Suns, which some of you may know. This is Khaled Hosseini's second book, which deals with women in Afghanistan. And yeah, there is a play of that. Ursula Rani Sarma wrote the play. She lives in London. The play was first produced at ACT in San Francisco in, ooh, gosh, somebody tell me the date, 2017, I want to say. And it's had some productions. It's very, very good. Yeah.
Okay, so first, that book was hugely successful. Did you feel like totally or fortunate that you were able to get the rights to write the play?
Yeah, you know, at the time I wasn't thinking that way, right? Because like I said, I was just wanting to do a piece with students at San Jose State. Yes, I suppose I was fortunate because Khaled could have said no, the film company could have been more prickly to work with than they were. As it was, they said, we don't care, just don't do it while the movie's in the theaters. I suppose I did realize I was fortunate on some level then. But I was just more, as an artist, you're just focused on, oh, I want to write a play, and I've got my students, and how are we going to make it work? Is this scene too long? Is that scene too short? I think my head was in that space a lot more than I was sort of, and I never would have imagined, right? I mean, the truth is, in 2007, I never would have imagined, like as a playwright, you're lucky to get one show. That's really good for a playwright, if you can get your play produced. It's even harder to get 2 shows. Right? Because that first show gets a world premiere attached to it, and the theater's like, oh, we're doing the world. But to get 2 shows is even harder. I never would have imagined that this particular play would be in production for 15 years, that it would be done on Broadway, in the West End. I wouldn't have, that would be doing a national tour. You aren't thinking those things at all when you're writing a piece. And I suppose had I known that, I would have felt very fortunate in 2007.
And the second part of my question is, quite often when projects like this are in development, they're workshopped and rewritten, and did you go through that, or was it just what you wrote was what ended up getting produced?
Yeah, so I've changed the play a lot over the years. So the workshop process, in some sense, has been these 20 years of production. I'm not involved in every show, but I've been involved in many of the plays, and here's what I want to say to all y'all. I'm not all y'all. You hear that? My North Carolina comes out. You hear that? Go Tar Heels. Here's what I want to say to you all. I'm not Afghan, surprise. I'm also not a refugee or an asylum seeker. Even though I teach those things in my classroom and I publish academic scholarship on those topics, that experience is not in my bones the way it might be in other people's experiences. And when we do the Kite Runner, we inevitably are working with artists as actors, designers, directors, whatever, who identify with that region as a geographical matter, or if not, they may identify with the immigrant experience. Maybe their families came from Lebanon or Iraq or Iran or wherever. And so they identify with this story more intimately than I do. And so what I try to do now as a writer, and this speaks to adaptation again, is I step into the room, I do a lot of listening, I try to listen to how these lines are reading today. How are they different than they might have been even 5 years ago? A lot has happened in Afghanistan in the last few years, as you're probably aware. So the play reads differently today. Certain lines that meant one thing 5 years ago are different today. And then actors will come to me and say, hey, this line is kind of hard for me to say because I maybe heard this when I was growing up, and can we change it? Can we change this for the play? Or here's this really beautiful line from the book. Could we put that in? Because it's not in the play right now, but it would mean a lot to me if we could. And in a professional setting, the playwright is the only person who can change the play. The actors, the directors, nobody else can do that. So they need me to make those changes, and that's what I've been doing essentially over the last 15 years. No two Kite Runner productions have had the same script. And that's why I was in New York last night. That's why I flew back, and I was having the train issue. Not train. It's not a train. It's a light rail. What is that thing? The thing that's up. The people mover at San Francisco Airport. In any event, I've been in New York for the last 10 days, making that script work for this particular cast of actors. And it's different from the Broadway script. It's different from the tour that's happening right now in England. Every script is a little bit different because I try to shape it to those human beings and what they find is important in this story.
Very good. Blake?
Hi, thank you for coming. Fellow playwright, I write in the musical theater realm. I went to Loyola Marymount University, graduated in a theater degree. I have a question for you. In terms of the rights, I like writing jukebox musicals so I can like bring characters to life from different things from, you know, very big bands. What's that process like? And are you sitting there with your agent, and how are the negotiations working to acquire the rights to actually then go put on the show? If that makes sense.
Rights. Yeah, no, rights with an adaptation, they're sort of different. They can be different every time. You know, basically the thing to know is if the author has been, there's a 70-year period after an author's death, and after that 70-year period, things become public domain. Yeah, that's partly why you see so many movies and things of like books written in the 1800s. So 70 years after the author's death, public domain kicks in, and you don't need rights at that stage. There's the odd thing. I think Mickey Mouse they've extended the copyright on that, but there's the odd thing. But most things go into public domain. If it's within the 70-year period or if the author's alive, then yeah, you do need rights, and especially if the author's living, each rights experience can be its own conversation. Right? And in theater, like our budgets, our pockets are not, even a Broadway play, like we can't really compete with film. So we don't tend to buy rights in theater. Film does that. You've probably heard of that. The film company that writes the author, whatever, a $500,000 check, and then they get rights. Theater does not work that way. Even the biggest theater companies can't really buy rights that way. So we usually work out a deal with the author that's like, hey, whatever money I make, you will get a certain percentage of that. And then that's the conversation point. Well, what is the percentage? And then, of course, the other conversation point is, does the author have a say in the artistic product? Or are they simply trusting you and stepping away? Or does the author want to be there? Do they want to come to rehearsals? Do they want to be engaged in casting? And that's the other place of conversation, and every author is different on those two things. So, yeah, if you can get a conversation with the author, that's where the rights stuff happens.
Very good.
Yeah.
Tim?
You may have just answered my question, but maybe in a little bit more detail. How does a playwright get compensated? Is it a one-off, or do you get paid royalties for the plays that are going on in London or Broadway? If you could elaborate a little bit, thank you.
Yeah, I love it. How is a playwright compensated? Playwright is compensated in a very specific way, which is through royalties. So when a play is produced, the playwright gets a royalty off the ticket sales. What's interesting is like where I was the last 2 days. I've been sitting in rehearsal in New York with a team of like 25 people, the cast, the director, the designers, everybody's in the room, you know, working on the script. The playwright is the one person in rehearsal not paid to be there. I'm not an employee. I'm not paid to be in the room. They cover some of my travel expenses, but that's more of a courtesy, right? But I'm not paid to be there. So like when they do the sexual harassment training, which you do in a professional setting, the playwright's not invited because you're not part of you're not an employee. And that cuts both ways, right? On the one hand, you're the only person in the room not paid to be there. On the other hand, you can sort of pick and choose when you want to be there. Nobody tells you when you have to be there. You can look at the schedule for tomorrow and go, oh, I don't think I need to be at the fight call, doesn't have anything to do with the play, so I'm going to stay home, I'm going to sleep late, and I'll see you all after lunch. The playwright kind of can pick and choose on some levels when they come. So they're still rehearsing today in New York, but I needed to get home because I'm also chair of our Department of Film, Theater, and Dance at San Jose State. We had a faculty meeting this morning, and so I'm not in rehearsal today. I sort of decided to come home and work at San Jose State today. So that cuts both ways, a playwright's pay. You can pick and choose what you do, but then you don't get paid until the play is produced and the tickets start to get sold.
Got it. Terry?
I read both books, enjoyed them immensely. I'm wondering if you can give us a quick rundown on the main characters and which one you had the hardest time bringing to life on the stage and why.
The main characters, quick rundown. Well, there's Amir. Amir is hard. He's the main character of Kite Runner, and he's hard on stage because he's so unlikable. I know a lot of you raised your hands and said you'd read the book. Amir does such a terrible thing in his youth, and then he makes it worse, right? He makes a series of bad decisions after the terrible thing he does, which makes the bad decision an even worse thing. And then the second half of the play, effectively, is Amir trying to set it right and get redemption. And that's hard, right? Like, I can tell some audiences don't like Amir, even at the end of the play. I can tell some audiences are like, I never liked him, and I don't believe he's redeemed, and I don't like him for that. And I think other audiences are kind of won over, and they're like, oh, okay, well, I sort of see where he's coming from, and it was a tough situation for him to be in. But that's hard, and I think it's hard for the actor playing Amir. I've heard from many actors in rehearsal, they're like, oh, I just feel so unlikable. I'm up here saying these terrible things, and I'm doing terrible things, but I'm the main character, right? Like, that actor never leaves stage. He's on stage for 2.5 hours. If you see the play, it really is a remarkable feat that one actor never leaves the stage. 2.5 hours, and he plays all these epic emotions and everything else. And then for that actor to feel like maybe they're coming off as unlikable with an audience, it's tricky. And we have a lot of conversation about that in rehearsal.
We have time for 2 quick questions with 2 quick responses, please. Heather.
Hi there. A lot of theaters are still struggling to gain audiences back after pandemic. When you're thinking about which titles to choose, how much are you balancing between this is a story that needs to be told and I'm going to tell it versus this would be a quick commercial sell and I need to polish this up so these theaters can survive?
Okay, so I never think commercially. I have absolutely no idea what is going to sell in the world of theater. I don't know. I choose the things I want to adapt because they're people I want to work with. At this point in my career, I love the relationships that I've been able to develop over years, and the pieces I work on now are driven by people I want to spend time with in rehearsal and in a writing room. Will it sell? Will it bring audiences to I don't know.
Very good. Mark, last question.
So I think I was fortunate enough to see your student production of The Kite Runner back in 2006, and it's a play I still remember. And what I remember about it was the engagement of the students and their sort of commitment to the material, which seemed very real to them and was therefore very real for the audience. I wonder now, over the span of a decade and a half, looking back at that production and thinking about the production that you're about to put on, what do you see as the big difference between those two?
Wow, I don't know the big difference. You took me to a space of similarity, sorry. But it's exactly that. Yeah, I felt that with the students in that room in 2006, 2007, even though I was the professor, right? Like, I was the professor. I had written this adaptation. I was teaching classes on refugees and asylum seekers, but I could tell in those rehearsals that many of my students just identified with this material on a magical level that far exceeded anything I could ever really understand. Maybe their dad had come here from someplace. They had seen one of their parents go through something similar in Kite Runner, and they identified with that in ways. And that's still true. As I said a minute ago, the actors that work on this show identify with it in ways that are really powerful and magical, and I've come to really respect that.
Please join me in thanking our speaker. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Come see Kite Runner. It opens a week from today. Thank you.
Thank you. And in honor of your time with us, we've made a contribution to Loaves and Fishes. So thank you. Couple of quick announcements. Be sure you bus your table. We don't have staff for that. And stick around because we have a wonderful band. Please wave. This is Familia Ramirez Reyes. They are a Peruvian guitar band. They're going to play some lovely music for us now. And son Sergio was actually an exchange student for Rotary in France. So we celebrate him on a number of levels. Please send Richard Alejandro some get well wishes. He had surgery and is recovering, so we won't see him for a few weeks, but we love to see him. I'm off to the airport, so I will give you my final thoughts. 2 things we are in control of are our attitude and our effort. Every morning you wake up with the opportunity to be a happier version of yourself. Seize that opportunity, and I'll see you next week.